Hey guys, I wanted to talk about my first time bikini bodybuilding. If you're thinking about competing or if you have never done it before but you're just curious, here was my experience. And there's a lot of myths that I believed before I started competing, even as a full-time NASM certified fitness trainer for many years. I also was an actress and model, having to stay fit year round for 12 years. So I've learned a lot of what not to do in wellness and was very surprised by what I found out. So stay tuned till the end of this video for probably things that you've maybe never heard of before. But the reason why I competed is several different stories long. Basically, I never thought I could do it. I had a lot of limiting beliefs about my own abilities, and I was scared of developing an ED or any sort of unhealthy relationship to food or fitness. And I found the opposite to be true when I actually competed. So that was the biggest myth. So if you're thinking about competing and you already have those issues, I would say this sport attracts people who already have those issues. So that's a very common problem. But it all stems from body shame and body looking at your body in terms of really judging it with looks subjectively. So a lot of people compete and they have some sort of insecurity with their body, or they don't love their body regardless of how it looks. And so developing a very wellness centered, balance centered mindset before competing would be very, 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 I would say, it's pivotal. So if you're thinking about competing, that is a pivotal thing that you have to make sure that you have down before you compete. You've got to have satiation when you eat. You need to be well above 2,000 calories daily maintenance. If you're already eating below 2,000 calories, if you're above 5'6" or so, just to lose weight or stay toned, I would say maybe ask yourself if you have an unhealthy mindset when it comes to eating. Everything needs to be, your metabolism needs to be high basically before you compete. So even the year before I competed, I reached out to a coach and she told me that she wouldn't take me on as a client because I didn't have enough muscle and my calories were too low. So what I did for an entire year was I built up muscle, I built up my metabolism again, and it was pretty high before that. I think I was eating 2,600 calories, and I had a high amount of muscle. And then due to getting a new job as a head coach at a personal training luxury gym studio, I just started losing weight. I couldn't keep it on. I didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't buy food to keep up with the amount of activity that I was burning, training that many people for that many hours a day. So I lost a lot of muscle and I lost a lot of my metabolism because of that. And long story short, I went from 2,600 maintenance calories to probably 1,700. Like, it was drastic. And I had to boost up my metabolism for a whole year and get back a lot more leg muscle. So my coach said, hey, your legs are not big enough to compete. I think you need to build them up. So that's what we did. And we came back 6 weeks out from summer shredding. I reached out to my coach, Alba Moore, shout out Alba Moore, and asked her, I'm gonna do this. Will you be my coach? And she said, you look great. Let's do this. So it was a far cry from the first time I reached out to her from when I actually competed and worked with her and trained with her. So that's what I would say. If you're thinking about this, you need to make sure you have a very healthy mindset and healthy approach when it comes to food and competing in general. When you compete, you've got to be objective about eating and training and how your body looks. If you rely on the scale obsessively count food and calories already, and you haven't even competed yet, I would say heal that side of your mindset, heal the emotional relationship you have with your body, and then think about competing. However, if you have a healthy relationship with food, your weight on the scale, your looks, and you're happy with your body, you love your body, and you just love weight training, and you love the art of bodybuilding, and you like me. So I knew that I probably should compete when I've basically trained as a bodybuilder for 10 years to stay fit for acting and modeling and stunt work in films. And I started as a fitness trainer full time, helping people live longer and healthier, happier lives. And then I would watch bodybuilding shows where people would be competing. Even if they didn't win, I would cry. I would be like, that is so amazing. That just is such a beautiful looking experience. That would be really cool to do. And that's when I thought, okay, I'm going to pray about whether I should compete or not. I basically got multiple confirmations from friends, family, random people at the gym. And I decided, I think the only thing holding me back at this point is fear. And fear's not a good reason to not do something. And sometimes fear just means that it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult pursuit. And that means that you should probably do it. If that's the only thing that's holding you back, like the channel Yes Theory says, seek discomfort, love over fear. And so if you're doing this for the right reasons, then you're gonna be able to have not only a worthwhile experience, but you're gonna have a great experience. The second myth that I would say is that bodybuilding is a selfish sport. I didn't compete for years because I thought, well, that's terrible. And that's what I hear a lot is like bodybuilding is a selfish sport. Now that I've seen and competed, and I've been around teams that have competed, I would say it is not a selfish sport, depending on where and how you train. I had more community throughout this whole competition and got so much more relationships than before I competed. Whereas I see other people who, when they compete, they isolate themselves. They might have a coach that helps them, but they isolate themselves from their friends and family because they get so hyper fixated and focused. Whereas another perspective and things I saw where there were great teams of people who would go to the shows and support each other. I went to the show alone. I didn't have anyone to go to the show with me. I went from Atlanta to Houston. I sold all my stuff. I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't have as much fancy equipment to shoot these videos as I used to because I sold it to do this show because I thought and believe and still believe that God called me to compete. And I didn't place, I didn't get any worldly accolades, but I got to share the gospel. And I got to be with people, meet people, help people. I got to inspire people. I've been told that I've created an impact by people in passing, people in my hometown. And it's been a beautiful experience. So if you're thinking about competing, do it for the right reasons, but know that it's truly up to you whether you want it to be a selfish endeavor or not. I did it because I knew that I could help people through it and that I could overcome fear. And I'm a firm believer that when you overcome fear in life, no matter why you are, what pursuit you are, or why you are trying to overcome that fear, fear is never a good thing. So overcoming it will make you a better person. There's a big difference, though, between jumping off a cliff that would kill you, that's thousands of feet high, and just doing something that would be healthy for you and overcoming a illogical fear, a fear that has boiled up from some sort of trauma or feeling inadequate and things like that. Those are all limiting beliefs and limiting mindsets. So when I say facing fear, that is what I mean. Facing fear means overcoming mental or emotional obstacles that if they were not present, your life would be better and the lives around you could be better because you are a better person to either pour into them or it's going to make you a better person. You're going to be a more loving person, a more selfless person. So that is what I mean when I say we're facing fear. And so, yes, that was the second myth of, is it a selfish pursuit or not? The third myth is that I would have to starve myself and go hungry. I was eating a little less than I was used to in terms of calories, but there were some nights that I was having to eat a lot of food. And that's just something that you have to do strategically, because there's a big difference between 2,000 calories in Big Macs versus 2,000 calories of chicken and rice. And if you do it correctly, you're eating the right things in volume rather than just calories, and you're looking at macros in a very subjective way, you're gonna feel satiated. And you can also, what I did, a little tip and trick that I did, is I kept my carbs and most of my fats for the end of the day, so that at the end of the day I could have a little treat, which was, a nice little rice cake for me. And again, if you're competing, you can get really creative with this, but I didn't want to be creative. I was just like, I got to go to work. I got to train. I got to get my macros for the day. So what I did for my little treat was a rice cake and peanut butter and blueberries. And I had like quite a few of them. There were some days where I'd have like 5 rice cakes because I saved up all my carbs. And yeah, I would say the hardest thing wasn't the food I was eating, it was cutting out energy drinks for me, because that is my vice. I love a good Ghost energy, and I did have to cut them out for the last 2 weeks of competing. I did a full total 6 weeks of competing. So the next myth is you have to have like 12 weeks of competing, like prep. I did 6 weeks, but that's because I keep myself in maintenance year round. I'm not fluctuating. I probably went from 18 to 17% body fat to 15 or 14. It was not a long prep for me. If you are someone who struggles with weight or excess fat, I should say, then you're going to have a harder time competing. It's just the truth of the matter, and you're probably going to have a longer prep. But if you work and are fit, you work on your fitness year round in a sustainable way, a balanced way, you're going to have a shorter or easier prep time. Mine was still pretty sped up. Like 6 weeks is a lot to cut that percentage of fat as a woman. And so it was pretty speedy, and my body did go through some fluctuations. So the next myth I want to talk about in terms of along those lines is I thought I was going to skip my period. And apparently a lot of people do. But because, like I said, I'm in maintenance year round and I'm already pretty low body fat percentage for a woman, through having muscle, training the right way, eating in a balanced manner, I didn't lose my period. I still had my period the last month leading up to the show and the month of the show. And I guess along those lines was, I got the question, like, did you get the shakes? Like, people get shaky. As a bikini bodybuilder, I didn't have to go so low in body fat that I would have to deal with that. Now, men who have to go 6% below or whatever, below 10% body fat, you're looking at liver or kidney failure. I didn't have to go that low. And you truly don't have to go that low depending on the division you're competing in. Wellness or bikini, you do not have to be that low in body fat percentage. Figure, you gotta get, as a woman, you gotta get like 12% and below in body fat. That's just how it is. And you have to have a lot more muscle. For bikini, you gotta have some muscle. You're gonna have thinner legs than the wellness division. And you're gonna have a higher body fat percentage than figure or physique. So figure or physique, classic, you're gonna have pretty low body fat percentage, but that's just not the division I competed in. And I loved competing, to be honest. And I'm gonna go through a lot more of these myths, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching this video. And if you want to support, I cannot compete because I put, basically I'm starting a Christian wellness app. It's the first Christian fitness app in the world. There is nothing like it. There is no Christian fitness app that has macro tracking, workout tracking, and prayer request line and scripture and prayer habit tracking. There's nothing like it. So this is the first on the market. It's coming out soon, but I put all of everything I have into it, and I'd be lucky to just break even. Blessed, I would say. So if you feel like supporting this ministry, link is in the description, the bio, my channel. So link is in my bio and channel to support this ministry. Stay faith formed, and God bless.